Pair accused of attacking Detroit police officer. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, Big Cop Diesel coming at you, and I wanted to do a video today about this story out of Detroit about these two knuckleheads that attacked a police officer who was in uniform and attempted to take his sidearm. So I looked at the video. I watched the video a couple times. There's a couple things that stick out to me. One thing that appears to me, and if you guys have a different take on it or know something I don't know, please jump in the comments below and let me know. But I can't be sure, but it looks to me like that police officer might have had his firearm in his front right pocket. And I'm saying that based on the angle of the camera and where the first perpetrator's hand was reaching. Because normally police officers carry their firearm on what's known as the 3 o'clock position in a duty holster that has some type of retention. I think these guys are carrying, I don't know. Somebody let me know what holster those guys are running right now. I can't remember if it's Safariland or one of the others. But the fact that this guy was able to reach that firearm and get his hands on it. And again, that's one thing. If you have the proper holster, and I'll give you an example here. If you have the proper holster, the whole idea of these holsters is to protect the firearm, protect the trigger, and if you're open carrying, is to prevent somebody from getting your firearm. So I'm gonna give you examples. So there's two holsters here. These holsters are actually the same in most regards, with the exception that this one has a hood on it. This one still has a retention device. There's a lever on this that has to be defeated to get the firearm out. This one has that same function plus one, so it still has a lever on it that has to be defeated to get the firearm out, but it also has this hood. So the levers that work together to get that hood down and still defeat the other retention so you can get the firearm out. So somebody can't just come up and grab this firearm or this one unless they know the trick. So I got a couple questions, and again, just by the angle, it looked to me like the officer had his firearm in his front right pocket, which begs other questions, because as someone who formerly wore a uniform, you know, your uniform and your duty belt and firearm go together. It's like cornflakes and milk, salt and pepper. You usually don't have one without the other. Unless you're like a command officer, and I've seen some command officers may not even have a firearm on them, or if they do, they'll have the firearm in inside the waistband holster. But again, so I'm just kind of trying to figure that situation out there. But that's the technicality. That's the technical part of it, whether the officer had the firearm secured properly or not. But that's huge, because, you know, when people are making these decisions, they're you know, you got somebody who has a properly secured firearm and somebody who doesn't. These guys are always going to go for the low-hanging fruit. It's always easier to go after somebody that has an unsecured firearm. There's a video that I show in my CPL classes of a woman in a Detroit gas station. She had on like leggings or something, and she had her firearm exposed, which was stupid to begin with. The firearm wasn't properly secured. The trigger wasn't, you know, she just had her Glock in the waistband of her yoga pants. So she lost it. If I think about it, I'll throw the link down below so you can see that video. The other part of that is these guys, you know, for whatever reason, they decided they were going to jump on a uniformed police officer and take his firearm. And then the other guy, the other individual, he had a firearm deep down in his sweatpants. It's okay, Mama. It's okay. Sorry. Loud car going by, dog jumped up. Come here, mama. Come here. It's okay. So this guy reaches deep down in his sweatpants to pull out a firearm. Actually points it at the firearm. Points the firearm at the officer as if he's going to shoot him. So miraculously, no shots were fired. Thank God the bad guy with the gun never pulled the trigger. The police officer didn't pull the trigger, which, you know, on the face of it, you're like, well, why the hell not? But obviously we weren't there. So all tactical considerations have to be taken into account. You know, one of the rules of firearm safety is know your target and know what's beyond it. And if you don't have a clear shot, meaning that there's no backstop, or there might be people behind the target, you just simply can't shoot. So that's probably what happened here. For those of you that don't know, it's universally understood that if someone is trying to get your firearm, that they are intending to kill you, and you can respond accordingly. But that wasn't the case. So good. I'm glad the police officer did not have to shoot and go through that whole thing. And I'm really glad that the police officer is here with us. So, guys, just be careful. If you're a concealed carrier, and I get asked this in my classes all the time, well, Michigan's a open carry state. Yes, it is. But what I say to people that ask those questions, and they're just asking, they're not trying to make a point. Usually they're just saying, hey, I see people carrying guns all the time. But my response is always just because you can doesn't mean you should. So when it comes to carrying concealed, remember, you have to put thought into your garments. You know, summertime, you know, you may want to, if you're fit and you want to wear a tight shirt, you're just going to have to carry your firearm differently, because carrying your firearm under a tight shirt just kind of defeats the purpose. Or if you're going to do like the woman did that I referenced earlier, where she's half in, half out. I mean, if you're going to carry it concealed, right? If you're going to open carry. Again, I don't recommend open carry for a whole bunch of reasons. And remember, if you are a concealed carrier, hopefully your instructor taught you about the color codes of awareness, meaning that you should be conditioned based on your environment. Anytime you step out your front door with a firearm on you, you must be in condition yellow. You must be aware of everything that's going on around you. But I see all too many times that people who are carrying are in condition white. Guys, this lifestyle, this Second Amendment lifestyle, is just that. It's a lifestyle. It's not a thing. It's not an accessory. You have to remember that you are taking on a huge responsibility by carrying a firearm. And I commend you for making that decision, because in the end, no one's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And hopefully that's why you decided to become a concealed carrier. You want the ability to be able to protect yourself and the lives of your loved ones, or an innocent bystander if you so choose. But to do that, you have to stack the deck in your favor at all times. And the way you stack the deck in your favor as a concealed carrier is carry that firearm concealed. Wear appropriate clothing so that the gun doesn't print. And realize that you may have to have several different types of holsters, depending on what you're wearing. And you may have to have several firearms. Typically in the summer, you want a smaller firearm, more of a compact or a subcompact, because they're easier to conceal. And then in the wintertime, fall and winter, when it's colder out and you can wear coats and all that, then you can carry a larger frame gun because you can still conceal it. All right, guys, those are my thoughts. If you are someone that's purchased a firearm and you're considering, you have a firearm or considering purchasing a firearm, and you're considering getting your concealed pistol license, I'll throw a link down below if you're in the Metro Detroit area. You can go to my dashboard on the USCCA website and see when my classes are. If you don't see any dates that work for you, still get a hold of me, because I may be able to work something out. And then I also do private sessions. So yeah, guys, stay safe and stay aware of your surroundings. Until next time, stay armed.